So we look now as what's been said to be breaking down traditional barriers as we celebrate Heritage Day, constitutional triumph for matrimonial property rights. We've seen this as the Legal Resources Centre, Public Interest Law Centre. It brought 3 applications before the court to advance elderly black married women's rights to marital property, altering the trajectory of elderly black women's access to matrimonial property. The courage of 4 brave women has changed the marital laws affecting all elderly black women in South Africa. This comes after the Constitutional Court ruled in favour of Elizabeth Gumede, Thokozani Maphumulo, Matodzi, Ramuhovhi and Agnes Sithole, who were assisted by this Durban-based Legal Resources Centre with the aim of reversing oppressive marriage laws that dictated what a woman can or cannot do. Nokuthula Mbele is a candidate attorney based at the LRC's Durban office. She joins us now. Very good evening to you. Thank you so much for joining us. Share with us what was so significant about these 4 women. Now, Elizabeth Gumede's struggle, for instance, why was that so significant?
Good evening to you and the viewers at home. Thank you for having me. So the Legal Resources Centre is a public interest law centre conducting strategic litigation which sought to dismantle legislation that not only discriminated but silenced individuals who are deemed less than because of race, class, gender, socio-economic and historical circumstances. So these applications were particularly important because they advance elderly black women's rights to marital property. According to the colonial and apartheid laws, these women could not access their rights to property and control their property. So we brought these applications to advance women's rights to marital property.
So just looking at the old customary law prior to the commencement date of the Act, we're talking here about the Recognition Act, Section 20 of the KwaZulu-Natal Act and Section 22 of the Natal Code. Tell me, what has been the experiences and women's contribution to a marriage? Was it recognized? Was it monetarized? How was it regarded?
So in KwaZulu-Natal, the couple lived, which is Mr. and Mrs. Gumede. Customary law is codified in the KwaZulu-Natal Act and the Natal Act. Both statutes provided that the family head, which is the husband, was the owner of all family property and the wife had absolutely no claim to the property during the course of the marriage or if the marriage dissolved. So these women help acquire, build and maintain these family homes. However, they were not financially recognized as contributing to the family home. So their contribution to the family home should not be underestimated nor ignored because they help nurture and take care of their children. So it wasn't directly financial. The contribution wasn't directly financial. However, they helped acquire, maintain, and build these homes alongside their husbands.
And I think, as you mentioned, that women are sometimes then treated as assets or property. Thokozani Maphumulo and Matodzi Ramuhovhi, what was their story? And if you could just also reflect on the fact that, as you mentioned, Deputy Chief Justice Moseneke said that while patriarchy has always been a feature of indigenous society, the written or codified rules of customary unions fostered a particularly crude and gendered form of inequality.
So with Ramuhovhi and Thokozani Maphumulo, they were parties to a customary marriage. So from the Gumede judgment, which declared Section 7, subsection 1 of the Constitution invalid, which provided that marriages which were old marriages which were concluded before the enactment of the commencement of the Act, were governed by customary law. So Matodzi Maphumulo was in a customary marriage, and her husband bequeathed all his properties to his son, so including that house that Mrs. Maphumulo resided in. So then this will would have left Mrs. Maphumulo homeless and vulnerable in an old age. Hence, we thought that this was an important judgment to help these women secure access to marital property rights, as they are inextricably linked to self-determination.
The Constitutional Court decisions, tell us a little bit more about how they have changed things going forward, not just in the inheritance of land, but we also know we've seen quite a few of this being tested in the court's inheritance of titles.
Yes, so land and property are highly contested issues in South Africa. So these judgments help these women to be able to make decisions and financial decisions in terms of their properties. They help them in terms of self-determination, making choices that will help them advance them financially. So it was very important for us to bring these applications. And not only was their dignity violated, in that they help secure, build and maintain these homes that they stand to be evicted from. The exclusion propagated the past discriminatory laws of the colonial and apartheid regime, leaving these women to relive their experiences even after apartheid. So I'm going to quote Justice O'Regan, who summarized the strength of the Constitution and the strength of human dignity in our constitutional dispensation, as so to reflect that respect for dignity of all human beings is particularly important in South Africa. For apartheid was a denial of common humanity. Black people were refused respect and dignity, and thereby the dignity of all South Africans was diminished. The new constitution rejects this past and affirms the equal worth of all South Africans, as the Constitution affords us all the right to equality. So this judgment was important regarding that.
All right. Thank you so much for speaking to us. Really appreciate it. Nokuthula Mbele, the candidate attorney based at the Durban office of the Legal Resources Centre, speaking to us about the importance of this, the changes that have occurred with regards to matrimonial property rights. We spoke to Terry Oakley-Smith and Yasmin Suka earlier on. They're speaking about diversity and inequality, and they're saying it has a black woman's face. So it just goes to tell you just how far we need to go in this fight. And we appreciate the fact that it is women who are, speaking to us about these milestones. Well, let's move